Tiff is just around the corner, and today they announced the first slate of films that will be at the festival. So it's time to start talking about Tiff 2014. Hey guys, I'm Adriana from Fresh from the Theater, and I know I haven't really done a video in a while. I'll get to why later. But first of all, Tiff did its first announcement of films today, and that's crazy exciting. There's tons of films that were announced, but so many more. And I've already compiled my first top 10 list for this year, even though it's definitely going to change. There's going to be so many more announcements. This is only special presentations and galas. They're probably going to even add to these categories, and let alone all the other crazy categories that are going to be at TIFF. I had some hopes for what would be announced this morning, and only one film that I was hoping for was announced. But I got introduced to a whole bunch more films that I had never even heard of until today, which is half the joy of TIFF, discovering new films. And I made my top 10 list. It's mostly based on the premise of each film. It's definitely going to change, as I said, because there's so many more films to come, and the more information we get, the more I'll change my mind. But it's still cool to see the initial reaction to this morning's announcements and the films that I think I really want to see so far. And so I have for you my first version of my top 10 list for TIFF 14. So, let's get started. My number 10 is The Humbling. The Humbling is directed by Barry Levinson, and it's based on a Philip Roth novel. It stars Al Pacino, Diane Weist, and Greta Gerwig, and it's about a really legendary stage actor who has an affair with a lesbian, and the TIFF description says it's a tragic comedy about a man who's lived inside his own imagination for too long. My number 9 is Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is directed by Dan Gilroy and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, who lost a lot of weight for this role. There's already images surfacing online. But it's a crime drama about a journalist in the underbelly of the LA crime scene, and it seems to be getting a lot of buzz, and I love Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think he's just a great actor, and he's been doing some really interesting films lately too, so I'm pretty excited for that one. My number 8 film is Phoenix. Phoenix is directed by Christian Petzold, and it's from Germany. It's about a survivor from the concentration camps who gets her face very disfigured, and she finds her husband again, but he doesn't recognize her, and she basically pretends to be another woman who just happens to look like his wife in order to find out the truth about how her husband felt about her. My number 7 is Cake. Cake is directed by Daniel Barnes. It stars Jennifer Aniston, Anna Kendrick, William H. Macy, Felicity Huffman, and Sam Worthington. It's about a woman who's lonely and alienates everyone in her life, but she becomes really obsessed with someone who committed suicide in her support group. My number 6 is Men, Women, and Children. Men, Women, and Children is Jason Reitman's latest film. He brought Labor Day to TIFF last year. That movie was awful, so I really hope he redeems himself, because I do love him as a filmmaker. Up in the Air, Juno, Young Adult, Thanks for Smoking, all great movies. Labor Day just went really wrong. But anyways, yeah, this is a dramedy, as per usual, and it stars Adam Sandler, Jennifer Garner, and Judy Greer. I love seeing Adam Sandler doing some more dramatic stuff, and where he can be funny and dramatic is where he really excels. I think he's a good actor when he gets put into these kind of films, so I think it looks pretty promising. My number 5 is Manglehorn. David Gordon Green directed this, and he's interesting because he does some really indie stuff, and then he does some more commercial stuff like George Washington and All the Real Girls and Prince Avalanche from last year, and then he has like Pineapple Express and Your Highness and The Sitter. So I think he's just an interesting filmmaker in the kinds of diversity he has in his films. And the premise of this one looks really interesting. It's about a man who never got to have the love of his life, and he still writes her letters and tries to get back the woman of his dreams. And it's this journey of a magical man. For some reason he's magical, okay. His son, his cat, and the new woman who's trying to put his heart back together. But the cast is really good. Al Pacino, Holly Hunter, and Chris Messina, who you may know from things like The Mindy Project. Al Pacino's in so many films at TIFF this year. That's pretty interesting. My number 4 is Hector and the Search for Happiness. This film is directed by Peter Chalsom, and it's from Germany and Canada. It's about a quirky psychiatrist who is tired of his boring life, and he embarks on a quest to find true happiness. And it's got a great cast: Rosamund Pike, Toni Collette, Christopher Plummer, Simon Pegg, and Stellan Skarsgård. This looks like a really feel-good film. It kind of reminds me a bit of something like Jeff Who Lives at Home or something. I have no idea. I'm totally shot in the dark here, but that's what most of my list is. But I think it looks good based on the description. My number 3 film is While We're Young. While We're Young is Noah Baumbach's new film, and I love Noah Baumbach. He was at Tiff a couple years ago with Frances Ha. He's also done such films as The Squid and the Whale, Margot at the Wedding, Greenberg, and Kicking and Screaming, not the Will Ferrell one. It's an exploration of aging, ambition, and success, and it's got a really great cast: Ben Stiller, Naomi Watts, Amanda Seyfried, Adam Driver, among other people. I think it looks really interesting, simply because I love Noah Baumbach. My number 2 film is Pasolini. It's directed by Abel Ferrara, and this film is about Pier Paolo Pasolini. He's a really notorious Italian director. He's known probably most for Salò or 100 Days of Sodom, which is a movie that I still haven't brought myself to see, but I do want to. He does very brutal, graphic kind of films, graphic violence and sexuality, and this is a film about him and about his death, and it's supposed to be this kind of dreamy, visionary blending of reality and imagination, and it's all about the last day of this director's life, and it's starring Willem Dafoe. And one of the other reasons that I'm really excited for this movie is because I met Abel Ferrara last year when I was at the Locarno Film Festival, and he actually told us a little bit about his work on Pasolini, as well as just being one of the craziest people I've ever met in my life. Just a total eccentric, interesting, crazy kind of guy who's got a lot of history in Hollywood. Yeah, I'm really excited for Pasolini. I hope to see him at TIFF this year. And my number 1 most anticipated, I've been anticipating this movie for quite some time. It's kind of a hard thing because this movie could potentially ruin something I love so much, but I'm just really excited to have more audiences be exposed to this musical, which is my favorite musical ever, The Last 5 Years. The Last 5 Years is a musical by composer Jason Robert Brown. The film is being directed by Richard LaGravenesse, and it stars Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan. The musical is about anyway, and they better stay true to how it is in the musical on stage as it is in the film, because it's such a cool concept. But basically it's just about this couple. They're the only 2 characters in the play, and it's 5 years of their relationship. Kathy tells the story from breakup to meeting, and Jamie tells the story from meeting to breakup, and it just alternates scenes of the 2 of them, her starting from when they've broken up, him starting from when they first met, going back and forth until he's just broken up with her and she's just met him. And in the middle is their wedding, and that's the only time they're ever on stage together, or else it's just one person on stage for the whole thing. So I'm not sure how they're going to do this in film. I know they can't completely stay true to it. I'm sure they'll both be on screen for the majority of the film, but I really, really hope that that they do justice to this musical. It has the most beautiful music. I used to do musical theater, and I know all these songs inside and out. I'm really excited. I didn't know if it was finished. I had a feeling it would play at TIFF this year because it just seemed like something that would play at TIFF, and the fact that it's at TIFF also gives me some hope that it's a good movie, because not that all movies at TIFF are good, but... And yeah, that's my top 10 so far. This is only the first announcement. So many more films are going to be announced. There's so much to talk about. Please let me know what your top 10 films are, or not even a top 10, but anything you're excited for, anything you're still hoping for. It's not the end. There's so many films to be announced, and I'll just say that there's so many that I was hoping for to hear about today that could still be announced. The main one is The Lobster. It's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. He did Dogtooth and Alps. He's a Greek filmmaker, but it's his first English language film, and it stars like Colin Farrell, John C. Reilly, and someone else I'm forgetting right now. But that film looks amazing. I'm hoping it's in the Vanguard section because it's really, really bizarre, the premise, and that could go in the Vanguard section. I'm really hoping to see Mommy, Xavier Dolan's new film, which is probably one of the Canadian titles that will be announced as well. Big Eyes, the new Tim Burton film, Birdman, the film that's opening the Venice Film Festival, so that's probably why they're not really sure about it, because it's not a world premiere. There's all this technicality, exclusivity stuff happening at Tiff this year. Tiff is planning to open a festival street where there's going to be a whole bunch of events and cool things going on, so hopefully that'll be a really cool thing. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of films I didn't mention that look really great as well. Some of them have already played before, such as Foxcatcher. This Is Where I Leave You looks really good. Maps of the Stars, the new David Cronenberg. There's just a whole bunch of films that look amazing, and it's just the first announcement. So that's super exciting. I guess I'll just go into a little bit about why I've been on hiatus. If you're a fan of my videos at all, you'll notice I haven't done one in a few months. I got really, really busy with school and work and everything else. I kind of just, stopped doing my reviews, but I had more of a reason than that too. I'm trying to make it, I'm trying to update my videos a bit, make them a little bit nicer, and that's still a work in progress that I'm going through. But the exciting news is that I'm starting a website. It's going to be freshfromthetheater.com. It's in the process of being made. I wanted to be made in time for this, but I clearly did not get that done. However, it should be up very, very soon. We're going to do tons of TIFF coverage. We're going to do tons of movie talk. It's just going to be, my videos, but as well some articles. I got some friends hopping on board to help me out writing stuff, and yeah, just look out for that, because I'll make it a big announcement when that time comes. It's gonna be very soon. So I was hoping to launch my new set of videos with the website, but however, yeah, life happens. So look out for that. As always, I'm Adriana from Fresh from the Theater. If you like what you see, please subscribe. There's going to be tons more TIFF talk, and I'm going to update this list like 20 times over, I'm sure. This is my first impression of the films that were announced today. Once I do a lot more reading and research, I'm sure that I'll change my mind a bit. But yeah, TIFF is so exciting. Comment below and we can talk about it. Thanks so much for watching.